Hello, hello. Something's sliding around back there. Good morning. Happy Friday. I was listening to a Rachmaninoff CD I got for Christmas, and I was contemplating leaving it playing because, you know, it's Rachmaninoff. But then I remembered that the copyright strikes come from the performances of the music. So while the music is in the free domain, if you were to play it, then that's a copyrighted performance. So, and if you can tell the difference between, if the algorithm can tell the difference between the performances, then that's the trick, I guess. Pro tip: it can't. I actually did get copy struck on something that was some classical music that was on like a children's CD or something, and someone claimed it, and I was like, that's not even your performance. Like, I know it's the same song, but this isn't your performance. Like, how do you even tell that it's your performance? I know the CD, it wasn't that performance. And they agreed that, like, they withdrew the copyright infringement thing, and apparently what I did was very stupid and very dangerous because the person who actually decides whether or not your video or whether or not your claim is has foundation and fair use is the person who owns the copyright, or person who makes the claim against it, which is like the prisoners running the prison, I guess. It's strange. So I grabbed I have an old tower that, I say old, it's not that old. I bought it a bit ago, and it has it's old. Okay, it's old. But I was kind of getting tired of running my X220 and unplugging and replugging, and I didn't really want to ultra base, whatever docking station thing it is. And I was like, maybe I should just install a proper version of Linux on that tower. And I got reminded of a few things. The first thing I got reminded of was that the easy install versions of Linux are super hard to do pretty much anything technical with. Like, if you want to just install it, this one was running Linux Lite, I think, or Linux. I think it's Linux Lite, and great compatibility. But if you want to do any serious work with it, it's confusing because it has all kinds of little helper applications, and stuff is blocked for apparently no reason, and I can't figure out how to unblock it. It was just a pain to get the files off of it to back up the data. But once I did that, I was able to blow it away and get a Debian install on it, and I think I'm going to standardize on Debian at this point. But with that Debian install, I was like, all right, cool. This should be pretty easy. And everything went pretty smoothly. Got the install going, got to the updates going, and I'm kind of looking into doing a little bit of gaming on the Linux, or at least to explore it a little bit more than I had previously, which was very, very lightly. So I was installing some stuff, and I was like, I could probably install these other things. And on Linux, everything's emulation of an emulation of an emulation. So it's a little heavy, and it takes a little bit of tuning. And I definitely installed something, and it borked that entire. Well, it borked the graphical environment. I shouldn't say that, yeah. But I wound up, I made the rookie mistake of not applying patches, applying software and then rebooting to make sure everything works afterwards. Because I realized I had installed a few things, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just uninstall those things. And I went back and uninstalled them, and nothing. And I was like, oh yeah, I probably installed a whole bunch of other stuff and then installed these things. So I have no idea what could be messing it up, but it was like I said, it was a fresh install, so I just blew it away. So I had the flashback, the nostalgia of a early morning Linux installs. I also woke up at like 1, just awake, so that was what I did with that. But I'm being a little bit more cautious. I realized that the running an AMD processor means things are a little bit different, a little bit tougher. And while I'm going along, I'm checking things on the ThinkPad, the X220. And I'm like, all right, well, I get this error, I'll check here, maybe I'll install this one, and I'm not sure about that, and is this supported, or is this kind of iffy package? And I'm just like, man, this X220, it's a champ. Like, this thing is doing really well. And I just wish it were a little beefier, and maybe the correct answer is like a T420 or something like that, but but I had the tower, I had the resource. I don't want to say the resource is useless. I don't want to waste it. I don't want it to sit fallow. So I got it going, and I'm gonna keep it going. And I have maybe an inkling of a worry, perhaps, that one day it'll just not be working because it was so disused and is rather old, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be down on the old hardware, being who I am. It's just different hardware, though. That's the thing. That's more concern. Non-standard hardware is more of a concern than old standard hardware. While I was getting it installed, I was setting up, and I was like, all right, well, time to link up that Dropbox. And I'm like, I'm not really. Dropbox is great. It is a great service. And I think I've said before, I know I've said before, I get way more out of Dropbox, way too much out of Dropbox to be on a free service, because it's extremely useful. Well, at least as far as I'm concerned, I'm using small files and stuff like that. I'm not abusing it at all. I'm not constantly, moving stuff up and down, gigs of data back and forth. So I'm politely using it, I guess. I have a free version. So 2 gigs, and for text files and stuff like that, for someone like me, that's really not that hard to stay under. But it started getting pushy, like in the last few months. It's like, hey, you should upgrade. Hey, you should upgrade. And then I got to like 80% full, and then I have this persistent pop-up that says, hey, your Dropbox is almost full. You need to upgrade. You need to upgrade. And I'm like, really? I've definitely been more full than this before, so this is a new development. Like, I'm not really feeling this right now. Maybe I'd check out Nextcloud or OwnCloud or something again, and get my own Dropbox type of thing going. Of course, I would want to. I could probably set up a light NAS or something. I don't know. We'll see. But the point was, I went to get it installed. I'm like, I'll think about it. I'll think about what I want to do, but in the meantime, this kind of needs to have Dropbox on it. So I kicked off the install for Dropbox, and it's like, okay, go ahead and log in. And it's like, oh, BT dubs. Now you can only register 3 devices on your Dropbox. And I had, and it gave me a list of all the devices I had registered with Dropbox, which was like 19, but most of which were inactive. And I realized that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 devices that I actively use Dropbox with. It is still very convenient to have that instant sync, but I don't necessarily trust, what's up in the cloud, that it's gonna always stay there. And again, this is something that I've been talking about. Free services are free because they're paid for in other ways. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much money Dropbox brings in. I don't even know if I don't think they're public at all. But I don't know what their business model is. This harkens back to the whole, conservative capitalist thing. It's the two are not necessary. The two are not tied together. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive, but they're not attached at the hip either. The idea that these companies, businesses are running at a loss for like 10 years, and it's like, no, we're gonna make money a different way. It's like, how? What is your business model? How do you make money? Like, why do you exist? How do you pay your employees? And I don't know if something like this kind of gets back to YouTube. Oh, by the way, you should sign up for gunstreamer.com, G-U-N streamer. I don't think there's any spaces in it, but it was started up as a place to host YouTube videos or gunny videos that were not YouTube friendly, because YouTube started blocking gun educational stuff over a year ago. So that started up, and they sent me an email and said, hey, we offer a channel movement service, a channel relocation service. And I was like, okay, so that should go through. Again, I don't know how they're making money either, so we'll find out, I guess. But at least until something happens, the streams are mirrored there. I'll probably also be able to upload some of the more ridiculously copyright struck live stream videos. So the live coding videos where I've got like 5 or 8 hours in and 30 seconds of it is copyright struck and blocked worldwide and do not pass go and do not collect $200, I'll get those uploaded. So nuts to YouTube on that. But like Dropbox, I have paid Dropbox $0. I'm sure I've made Dropbox some money somehow. I really don't know. I know storage is cheap. I know bandwidth isn't as cheap. I don't know. I'm much more down with a paying relationship than we just make money. Don't worry about it. Just sign the terms and conditions. That's a less honest relationship. So we'll see what we get to do about that. We'll get off it is what we're going to do. Is we're going to get off of Dropbox and hopefully get off of most of the free services anyways. Yeah. I have to move my hosting anyways. All right, cool.